1999 CRV Manual transmission, B20. Clutch job, no BS. As much info as I can give you in a couple minutes. Here we go. Wheels off. Use jack stands right on the lower control mount. Caressing that. These are not Harbor Freight, don't worry about it. Wheels come off. And then you want to do your axle nut. It's inside, I'm not going to get it. I used 1/2 inch gun, 1/2 to 3/4 adapter, and a large socket, which took the nut off right here. Now, a lot of people have issue with rust in their axle shaft. I lost my bronze drift, so I laid this hammer as flat as I could on the end and then hammered it with this guy going here. It's not the perfect way to do it, but it was able to give it the fast, lots of pressure in a short amount of time versus a big hammer. You need this, Harbor Freight, 20 bucks, get 2. They disappear like crazy, then reappear. You need to do all your ball joints. The axle will not come all the way out of the wheel hub. Once you get all your ball joints, lower, upper, and steering, you can pull your hub off. You need the shock out too. You can pull your hub off as you tap with the 2 hammers on the axle shaft. Your hub will come out, and it's pretty much what you're left with. Brake caliper zip tied up. I will be replacing all this because I'm already here. Amazon kit, $200 something. You get lower, upper, and all new ball joints, which I need to press into the hub itself on the bottom. I'm not going to show that. At that point, you'll have all this off. The hub will be off. You can pull the axle shaft, which will come out of this side is your passenger side axle shaft seal, which has been replaced. You can pull it out. I used a heel bar on one side, not to break the case, and then had buddy use a screwdriver in on the other side, wiggle, shake. Eventually it came out. Don't break your case. Here's the other replace seal to replace. I pulled it out, it was pretty easy, and then I snipped off this outer dust cover seal that matches your axle shaft. Snipped it off with a knife, and then I was able to press it in. I didn't even need a hammer. I ultra black sealed here, ready to go. This seal on the inner side of the driver is smaller inner diameter than this seal. The Amazon kit I ordered came with 2 of these. It is different. Call your local Honda guy. The first time I called, he said they were the same. Second time I called, got a different guy. They're different. This one is smaller. It goes to a 1/2 shaft, which mounts partway on the engine. There's a bearing on there. I'm going to be replacing that as well. That's my transmission work. Here's the new pilot bearing here. There is a greasable joint where it pivots here. I got my new grease here. That's ready to go. That's the transmission. And transmission mounts has to come off. This mount has to come off. This mount has to come off. I used a large washer on the exhaust here. Grabbed this side over here underneath this mount for the power steering. Wrapped around the distributor, not my favorite, but it works. And then went to this bolt over here, which is a mount for the power steering line. The whole engine has to come down and out. As you come down and out, there are these bolts that you have to get from the back side from underneath. I'll show you that. And the engine will come out and pop off of this mount and go behind it. And right now, this is how low we had to get it to bring it out. You can kind of see, compare yours. It's come out and low. I noticed a couple guys, the only other video that showed it actually out, this gets a little bit tight. I unmounted it from here and it's not tight enough to concern me. I could unplug it, don't feel like it. This stud right here, once you have the engine pulled out and down, this stud has to go into this slot. It is tight. You have to get it perfect. It goes all the way in here. It'll be like this, and then it'll finally drop down. Otherwise, if you do not get it far enough out, you will be rubbing, you will keep rubbing on here. And everybody on the internet who does this clutch job does not show it actually out of the car, except for one guy who just let it fall, but that's where I got the info to pull the engine down. So I could have removed this, didn't have to. It's resting perfectly. Shift cables, where are they? Shift cables are loose, out of the way. Nothing back here is touching. All these wires had to be disconnected. Yeah, once you get, oh, Kirkland sparkling water, shout out. Once you get this stud into this, it right lined up with this, it will slide right in here and just barely come out. Otherwise, that's where I was rubbing up against till I found out to lower the whole engine. Flywheel's been resurfaced, new Exetti clutch, all Amazon. Yeah, I can't think of anything else I had a huge problem with. Oh, rear main seal. There's a housing back here. It is studded, as you can see. I had to pull the oil pan again. It's okay though, not a big deal. Clean it out. So yeah, going back together, it's definitely possible. Here is a view of transmission back in. You can see that the stud I was talking about is lined up right with that hole there, and you can see the little marks it made right about, maybe you can't, there it is, right there. Went in smooth. Here's how I lifted it with the transmission. Little board came right in through here. Of course, this plastic thing had to come off. That's all stuff you can figure out. But now we are about to lift her back up into place and see how low it actually is. And the main goal here, oh, and this shifter guy had to be in this position. It moves. So we back. The main goal is to get this motor mount back over this lip. And this goes here. So we got to raise it up, pull this out. You can see it moves. The whole engine will go up and back in. Then we can get this mount back on. Goes to these. And we can get this mount back on. That goes in here. Don't stress your pump line too much. Forgot to mention you have to have one of these. Life-changing and Icon extension kit. Makes your life way easier. Now, engine's gonna lift back up, slide into the slot, then everything can go back on. Oh, axles are the same as the automatic. Manual transmission axles are the same. The half shaft, however, is not. The half shaft goes from your inner side and then it mounts up to the side of the engine here, and then your axle shaft goes into that. There's a seal and bearing in your half shaft bearing. I'm deciding to rebuild it, but the axles are in fact the same. The seals on the inside of the tranny are not, as I showed, but the axles are. Thank you.